Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Today we're going to go over quiz review problem or test review problem, before you take your test, okay? I don't want you to think that you all missed all of these questions. It may have just been like one person or two people, but enough that I felt like we should go over it. And, if you want to just quickly check, fast forward and see if you got the problems right, feel free to do that. You did really well with the special right triangles, okay? So just some of the word problems we had issues with. And with the right triangle trig stuff, the SOHCAHTOA stuff, you did pretty well with like one section and just needed a little help with two parts. So we'll go through these. If you feel like you're ready to just take the test, you certainly can. But I thought this would be helpful. Okay, so let's first start with number 6. Number 6 is a 30, 60, 90. So I'm going to go ahead and put 60 degrees down here. And then I'm going to label my triangle. So the hypotenuse is 2x. The short leg is x. And then the long leg is x root 3. Okay, so there are two different ways you can write this answer. So the first thing is I did not give you x, so you need to write a little equation. So our equation would be 5 equals 2x. So divide by 2, and x equals, some of you left it 5 over 2. That is totally fine. Or some of you left it 2.5. Either one of those things is fine with me. So that's your x side, so that will go here. Okay? And so then we plug it in here, and then that would be 2.5 root 3, or 5 over 2 root 3. All right. Number 7 says the perimeter of a square is 36. All right, so we have a square where all sides are congruent. Okay. I'm just putting the right angles so that we know it's not a square, not a rhombus. Okay. So if the perimeter is 36, that means we got to do 36 divided by 4 to see what each side is. So that's going to be 9 for each side. Okay, if that makes sense, because then you're going 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, or 9 times 4, which gives you 36. Okay, so that helps us kind of get started. Now, what does it ask us for? What is the length of the diagonal? So remember, when you cut a square, that's going to turn it into a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay, and so then it asks us the length of the diagonal, which is this. And so if I label this x, x, and x root 2, I'm giving you the x, so you just plug in. So our answer is 9 root 2. Some of you did not leave it in exact radical form. Some of you just left it in decimal form. So try to remember, you'll see the test is multiple choice, so you'll see it doesn't have decimals, it'll have radicals. Okay. What is the length of a leg of an isosceles right triangle? Okay, so this right here, isosceles right triangle. Remember, isosceles means two sides are congruent. So that means it's automatically a 45, 45. If the hypotenuse is 16. So we can label this x, x, x root 2. So I'm not giving you the x, so you need to set up an equation. So 16 equals x root 2. Or x root 2 equals 16. I'm going to write it this way since it's easier to solve. Okay, so divide by root 2. Then you have to get the radical out of the denominator. So times by root 2. So 16 root 2 over 2. And then that simplifies to 8 root 2. All right, that's the length of the leg. And inches was the unit. Okay. All right, let's change back to red. All right, what is the length of a side of an equilateral triangle? Okay, so equilateral triangle means all the sides are the same. So that means all of these are 60 degrees. So 60, 60, and 60 is 180. And then we have to find the altitude. No, it gives us the altitude, excuse me. So when I drop the altitude here, that's 18, that automatically makes it a 30, 60, 90. Okay, so this one's 18, 60, and 30. All right, so then I'm going to label x, 2x, and x root 3. So I did not give you x, and it asks for the length of a side, so I'm actually looking for this one, right? This one here, the x side is only half, so we want to find the full side. So I'm going to do x root 3 equals 18, and then I'm going to divide by root 3, and then times by root 3. So we'll have x equals 18 root 3 over 3, and then 18 over 3 reduces to 6. Okay? Now, we have to be careful because that is our x. I was tempted to just put that in the answer spot, but notice now we have to plug it in here. So 2 times that would give me 12 root 3. Okay? So I had to take what I found, which was just my x, and plug it in for the hypotenuse. So 2 times that amount. All right, number 10 says the perimeter, I've clearly got to get more storage, sorry. The perimeter of an equilateral triangle, so again, we're doing equilateral triangle, ooh, that was bad, is 24. So we're going to do 24 divided by 3. So that'll be 8, 8, and 8, because 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 24. What is the length, what is the length of the altitude? So altitude is going to go here. So if I redraw this, it'll be 8. Now this side is no longer 8, right? This side is now 4 because I cut this in half, okay? I should do that because originally it's like all of those sides are the same. Okay, so let's label it. This is your 30 because it was cut in half. This one is your 60. So this is our x and our 2x, and that makes sense. If x is 4, 2x would be 8. We're looking for the altitude, which is x root 3. Well, this is the easy one because I gave you x, so all you got to do is plug it in. So 4 root 3, and then what was our unit? Feet. Okay. All right, number 11 asks us for the area. So you may have had to look back in your notes, but area of a parallelogram is just base times height. We already know the base. The base is 14. So now we just need to find the height, which is this guy right here. All right, I'm going to redraw it over here. So we have 10, we have 60, and this is what we're looking for. So this is my 30. So I'm going to label it x, 2x, and x root 3. Once we find that height, we can plug it right in. So if my 2x is 10, 2x equals 10, most of y'all can just do this in your head. X equals 5. So I'm going to put 5 here, and then I'm going to plug it in there, 5 root 3. So that's my height. And so now I'm going to times the 14 and the 5, and 14 times 5 gives me 70 root 3, and then we didn't have a unit, so I'm just going to put a u and then squared because it's area. Okay? All right, number 12, some of you just were kind of confused on what I was asking here. So the sine of 42, some of you just like typed in sine of 42, and that's fine. But what I was asking you to do is to write the cofunction. So remember, if you have sine of one angle, you need cosine of the other, and I can draw it out. So let's say this angle is 42. You need to find that the sine of this angle is going to be the same as the cosine of this angle. So how do you find that angle down at the bottom? Well, you're just going to do 90 minus 42. Okay? And then that gives you 48. So that's what the answer is that I really wanted there. Those are cofunctions of each other. If you typed this into the calculator and this into the calculator, you should get the same thing. Maybe I'll do that real quick just to be sure. Although I'm pretty confident. Let's be 100% confident. So I get like 0.669. And then let's see if I get the same thing when I do cosine 48. Yeah. So I know I'm correct. So number 13 is basically asking you, how do you do this if you don't know what the angle is? And so you just have to put it in like general terms. And so first of all, if we have the word cosine, we know sine is going to go here. So if we have some angle, let's just say instead of 42, we called that theta. How do you find this angle here? Well, you're just using that formula. So you do 90 minus theta. Okay, that's just the general formula that will work for every single problem. Okay, for the next section, a lot of y'all did fantastic on this one. So 14, I'm just doing it to kind of help set up 15 and also to go over a couple careless mistakes. So 14, everything is done for you. Okay, we have our theta and we have all three sides. So we have our O, because it's across from theta. We have our H and we have our A. Okay, so now when I do SOHCAHTOA, let's write it down so we don't forget. Sine is O over H. So we're going to do 3 root 3 over 6 root 3. And then you just have to simplify. So if you notice, those root 3's are on top and bottom, numerator and denominator. So they're going to cross out. You're left with 3/6, and that reduces to 1/2. Okay? A lot of you got that right, which is great. All right, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. All right, this one takes a little bit more work. So we're going to times by root 3. So we'll have 9 root 3 over 6 times 3, which is 9 root 3 over 18. And then that simplifies because 9 over 18 reduces to 1/2. Oops, root 3 over 2. Okay? And then tangent is O over A, and then the radical's fine where it is there. We just need to simplify this, so it's root 3 over 3. There is an imaginary 1 here as well as up here, but remember I don't need to put it. Okay, so those are your answers there. Now 15, some of you left it as like X on the unknown side, but here's what I want you to do. On number 15, I want you to draw the right triangle. Put theta wherever you want. I typically put it at the bottom. And now sine is O over H. So I'm giving you the O side, and I'm giving you the H side. So which side are we missing? Well, we're missing the adjacent side. And you need them for these two, cosine and tangent. You need the A. So how do we find the A? Well, we find the A doing Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to do A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 5 squared plus B squared equals 13 squared. So 25 plus B squared equals 169. And then subtract those. And you get 144, which is a nice perfect square. So this B is going to equal 12. So that's this side right here. Okay, and so now I can label them. O, H, I could have done that before, and A. So the only reason I'm really talking about this problem is because some of you left it as like X over 13 or, X over 13 or 5 over X, but I actually want you to find that side, and you can do it by Pythagorean theorem. So our cosine is now adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. So those are your answers there. They don't simplify. 16 through 22 I'm not going to do. Y'all did so great on those. The only thing that I will say is make sure you're careful about your rounding. Okay? You'll see on the test, I think you'll be able to figure it out even if you kind of write down the wrong answer with rounding, because I'm not making them like super close in that regard. All right, let's talk about the word problems and then we'll be done. I guess this one first before we do the word problems. Okay, so most of us did this exactly right. What you want to do is you want to pretend like this triangle doesn't exist to begin with, okay? And then if we're finding X, we'll just label it O according to that angle, and this is H. So which trig function is that? That's sine. So we're going to do sine of 25 degrees equals O over H. And then that's a multiply. So we're going to multiply 20 times sine 25, okay? And so then 20 times sine 25 gives us 8.45. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. All right, now to solve, so I've got that one. Now to solve y, I have to go back and erase this. Now, y'all might not want to like actually mark it out or whatever. You may just want to like put your thumb over it or something like that. Put your finger over it. But now you need that 8.45 to do the y. So when I do y, I'm going to still call this O. That could change, but it just happens to be the same for both triangles. And then your right angle would be here, so this is hypotenuse. So it's still sine, but this time it's sine of theta because we don't know what it is. And then 8.45 over 10. And then that's when you do the second sine, remember? The inverse of sine. And then 8.45 divided by 10. So I'm going to type that in. Second sine, 8.45 divided by 10. And remember, we want to round to the nearest whole number. So we should have rounded to 58 degrees. Okay. All right, we're getting there. We're almost done, you guys. 4 more. So with numbers 24 to the end, basically, you know, we kind of want to be doing the right triangle thing the same every time. The only thing that 24 is a little bit of a trick is because it says your eyes are about 1.6 meters off the ground. So it's assuming that the triangle starts off the ground. Here's the ground. Here is your eye, you know. Sorry, that's ridiculous. So this amount is 1.6. So you're going to have to add that because it's saying the nest is up here. Okay. And so we're trying to figure out this height, and we're only going to actually find, you know, this to start with. And so then we'll take the 1.6 and add it in just a moment. All right, it says, so let's fill in this triangle. 8 meters away, so that's like the base. Angle of elevation is 40. Remember looking up. And how high? So X goes here. So that is, let's use a different color. So that's O, and A, which is tangent. So tangent of 40 degrees equals O over A, and that's multiplying. Okay, so X is approximately 6.71 meters, which is what some of you put, which is great. However, what we just found is this distance right here. So we've only found this much. Now we need to add the 1.6 to get our final answer. So our final answer is X is approximately 8.31 meters. Okay, so that's the only trick where you need to be careful if it's off the ground. If it's not assuming to be on the ground, you got to add that height back to it. Okay, to eliminate the entrance of THS, a spotlight is mounted on a 39-foot pole. I'm going to go ahead and draw this. The pole would be here. The base of the pole is here. What is the angle of depression? Now remember, angle of depression is here, but that doesn't do us any good, so angle of depression is going to be there. So now we're going to label it O and A, so that's tangent again. Tangent of theta equals O over A. And now we're going to type it in. Second tan, 39.5 divided by 37.2. And we're rounding to the nearest whole number, remember, because it's angles. So it's 46.7, so that's 47 degrees. Okay. All right, number 28. A plane is coming in for landing, so let's go ahead and put this. Direct line of sight, remember, any direct distance, direct line of sight, that's your hypotenuse. And the altitude is another word for height, so it's going to go here. And then what's the angle of depression? So remember, it really falls out here, but then it's going to go down there. So then O over H, that's going to be sine. Just look out for those context clues. You know, base will mean bottom, direct line will be hypotenuse, altitude will be height. And so then we're going to type second sine 5,000 divided by 8,000. And you get 38.6, so rounding that'll be 39 degrees. Okay. All right, now this problem 29 is the hardest one for sure. So I understand that we may have had trouble, although several of us got this right, so that's good. All right, you are a block away from a skyscraper that is 780 feet tall, so we're going to have a triangle. The skyscraper is 780 feet tall. Okay? Your friend is between the skyscraper and yourself. So you are here. Your friend is here. So we should have two triangles, okay? That's really not a great drawing. Let's see if I can do it a little bit better. It's pretty much exactly what I drew again, but that's okay. All right, let's erase this original one. The bigger might be more helpful. Okay, so it says the angle of elevation, so you are here and the friend is here. The angle of elevation from your position is 42 degrees. The angle of elevation of your friend's position is 71 degrees. So that's the amount that your friend is looking up and you are looking up. To the nearest foot, how far are you from your friend? So we're trying to figure out this distance. Okay? Now, the problem with this is a lot of students are going to want to use this triangle right here so we can just find the base. But what is the problem with that? The problem with that is this a right angle right here? And the answer is no. So you cannot do that. But we can use this right triangle here. And then we can use the whole big right triangle here. And then we can do something with these down here. So we're going to find this. And then we're going to find this. And what are we going to do with the red and the blue? We are going to subtract them, which will give me the green, what I'm looking for. Okay? So the first thing is, the nice thing is we're going to use the same trig function. So this is going to be O, and this is going to be A for the blue and the red. Okay? So we're going to use tangent each time. So for the big blue, so I'm going to put big blue, we're going to do tangent of 42 degrees equals 780 over x. All right, then that's a divide problem. And so that's going to give me, that's going to give me 866.28. All right, so then I'm going to do small red. And I'm going to do tangent of 71 degrees equals, and then it's the same ratio. And then that'll give me x is approximately 200. I have it written down already, so I didn't have to type it in. Okay? And now, if I know the big one, which is the blue down here in the picture, so I know this full amount here, and then I also know this amount here. If I subtract the blue and take it away from the, if that's red, if I take the red and subtract it away, I'll be left with this amount here, which is what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to subtract them. 866.28 minus 268.58. And that gives me approximately 597.7 feet. Okay? So that was a little bit of a tough one. That would be more like a bonus type problem. But yay, we are done with the unit. So now it's test time. So do your very best. It's all multiple choice. So choose wisely and good luck.